Rosana Hassanel, and you're tuning in to Nightline. The top stories. 2 children among 6 killed in road crash in Johor. And Malaysia strongly condemns Quran burning demo in Sweden, says PM. Good morning. In Johor, 6 people, including 2 children, were killed, while 5 others were injured in a crash at Jalan Kluang Mersing in Kluang on Sunday. Kluang OCPD ACP Bahrin Muhammad Noh said the 5 p.m. incident happened when a Puro 2 Myvi, driven by a 24-year-old man, lost control of his vehicle and crashed into an incoming Honda Stream that was driven by a 54-year-old man. Those who died from the Puro 2 Myvi were identified as Masrina Kahdar, Muhammad Zarfan Nur Amin, Muhammad Shakir Nur Amin, Muhammad Ashraf Radik Abdullah, and Muhammad Adil Abdul Qadir. All were pronounced dead at the scene. Another victim, Siti Nurzana Kahdar, was pronounced dead while being treated at the Kluang Hospital. The driver of the Honda Stream, known as Zulkefli Zakaria, 53, suffered broken ribs and is currently being treated in the red zone, together with his 47-year-old wife, Kamaria Yusuf, and 13-year-old daughter. The driver of the Puro 2 Myvi is also being treated in the red zone, along with another passenger, a 6-year-old girl. Kluang Fire and Rescue Department Operation Commander Muhammad Shamsul Amri Muhammad Shahab said all of the victims were removed from their vehicles by the public. The case is being investigated under Section 41(1) of the Road Transport Act 1987. Malaysia condemns in the strongest terms the Islamophobic act of the extremist Swedish-Danish far-right politician Rasmus Paludan in turning a copy of the Holy Quran in Stockholm, Sweden on January 21st. In light of this incident, the Swedish government has been urged to take urgent measures against the perpetrators of the vile act, as well as ensuring drastic steps in the future to address the alarming rise of Islamophobia in Sweden. In a statement, Prime Minister Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim said such a blatant defilement of the Al-Quran by the Swedish politician and the inaction are tantamount to fomenting Islamophobia. The Prime Minister said it also constitutes a grave provocation to the sensitivities of not just Turkey, but more than 2 billion Muslims in the world. He added that Malaysia denounces the repeated hate crimes targeting Muslims in the world, as well as all forms of incitement to hatred and the fanning of racism in word or deed, and views with grave concern the rising tide of hate speech on account of faith or ethnicity. Malaysia has also reiterated the paramount importance of upholding the principles of dialogue, engagement, and mutual respect in the settlement of disputes. At the same time, Malaysia has called on the international community to reject race or religious baiting under the guise of freedom of expression and to remain united against all forms of incitement to hate and violence. Prime Minister Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim on Sunday returned to Wisma MCA after more than 25 years to celebrate Chinese New Year. He said that he appreciated MCA's invitation as the Barisan Nasional BN component is now part of the unity government led by him.
Jadi sekarang ni ada ruang dan nampak kita bukan sahaja kemesraan tapi nampak satu haluan dalam banyak pandangan dan isu, dan saya banyak bincang juga dengan Presiden MCA Wakassiong dan nampak kita tumpu pembangunan dan ekonomi Malaysia.
Also present were his wife, Datuk Sri Dr. Wan Azizah Wan Ismail, and Deputy Prime Minister, Datuk Sri Ahmad Zahid Hamidi. Datuk Sri Wee and several cabinet ministers were also in attendance. Datuk Sri Anwar also said that working with MCA will be used to focus efforts on dealing with the development and economic issues of the country, together with the BN component. Festivals celebrated by a particular race are the best foundation for strengthening unity comprising the multiracial and religious community in this country. Deputy Prime Minister Datuk Sri Fadilah Yusof said racial unity is the basis for creating stability and ensuring the smooth administration of the country.
Asasnya ialah kita kena bersatu padu. Bila kita bersatu, baru kita akan dapat memfokuskan pada perencanaan untuk membangunkan negara, sama ada dalam sudut ekonomi, membantu rakyat dan kurangkan berpolitik, lebih kuat bekerja. Less talk, tapi kerja lebih kuat.
He was met by reporters at the Sarawak United People's Party SUPP Chinese New Year Open House in Kuching. Also present was Datuk Sri Fadilah's wife, Datin Sri Ruziah Muhammad Tahir, Sarawak Premier Tan Sri Abang Johari Tun Openg, and his wife Puan Sri Jumaani Tuanku Bujang. Meanwhile, Tan Sri Abang Johari said the Chinese New Year was not only a celebration for the Chinese community, but was also celebrated by people of various races in Sarawak.
Ini sudah menjadi budaya kita di Sarawak dan sudah tentu dengan adanya perpaduan yang kukuh kita dapat terus membangunkan masyarakat kita dan negeri untuk masa depan.
The government will always ensure good governance by upholding the principle of integrity, especially rejecting corrupt practices, to ensure that the country's development plan can be realised. Prime Minister Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim said that all parties in the unity government had been given clear instructions on the matter.
Dan kita bagi beberapa peraturan yang jelas. Kalau mau kuat, kalau mau rakyat sokong, pemimpin-pemimpin mesti tolak rasuah salah guna kuasa.
Datuk Sri Anwar was speaking at the Chinese New Year Open House, hosted by the Kuala Lumpur and Selangor Chinese Assembly Hall in the capital on Sunday. He noted that under the Malaysia Madani, he is convinced that the country's great potential can only be optimized if the principle of integrity is upheld and there are no corrupt practices, while leaders or ministers are not racing to accumulate wealth. He also said that during his 2 months of observation, all the ministers consistently implement good governance, no corruption in the affairs and administration of their respective ministries. In this regard, the Prime Minister expressed his gratitude to the leaders in the unity government from various parties, who in terms of principle are all very strict and do not tolerate acts of corruption. At the same event, Datuk Sri Anwar said that annual expenditure distribution and the appointment of Sabah and Sarawak representatives in the Inland Revenue Board IRB are among the main issues in the Malaysia Agreement 1963 MA63, which have been successfully resolved by the unity government. The Prime Minister also said that the government agreed to transfer the authority for expenditure on public infrastructure development to Sabah and Sarawak through the respective state public works departments, PWD. Datuk Sri Anwar said that the federal government will also fund public infrastructure construction projects in Sabah and Sarawak, with the entire allocation being distributed to the state governments conditionally. However, he stressed that it must go through strict financial supervision and regulations and be monitored by the Finance Ministry.
Peruntukan setiap tahunan. Selama ini Sarawak dapat 16 juta. Jadi bagi dia tak menusabah lah semangat perbelanjaan. Oleh itu kita buat ada beberapa format peraturan yang meningkatkan sekarang pada 300 juta ringgit setahun. Itu tertakluk kepada beberapa perincian perjanjian.
Datuk Sri Anwar said that it was important to resolve the matter to prove that the unity government was serious about fulfilling the promises made in MA63. The Prime Minister stressed that most of the provisions in the MA63 agreement, which have been unresolved for more than 60 years, were successfully completed during the MA63 Implementation Action Council meeting, attended by the Sabah Chief Minister and Sarawak Premier last Friday. He also pointed out that the issues were successfully resolved through the support and spirit of unity of all the political coalitions which make up the unity government. UMNO President Datuk Sri Ahmad Zahid Hamidi has chided past President Tan Sri Abdul Hadi Awang on the latter's remark about handing money to voters as being charity. The Deputy Prime Minister said the Islamic Party leader's remarks were considered biased and unfair as he is an ulama.
Kalau dibuat sedekah, kalau kita bagi rasuah, Ulama ni jangan tukar-tukar hukum lah, jangan tukar fatwa lah. Akhirnya ulama politik tidak akan dihormati oleh rakyat dan oleh orang Islam. Ya, ulama kena ada integriti sebagai ulama, jangan tukar-tukar fatwa, okey?
He said this to the media after attending the Chinese New Year open house at Wisma MCA in Kuala Lumpur on Sunday. Previously, PAS came under fire after video clips of party leaders allegedly handing out cash to voters during the 15th general election, GE15, went viral. Following this revelation, Tan Sri Abdul Hadi on Saturday said those pictured on the viral video handing out money to voters during GE15 were ordinary people giving out charity and not bribing them. He said there was nothing wrong with such act and no electoral laws had been broken. Meanwhile, Perikatan Nasional has claimed to have strong evidence to deny allegations that the coalition bribed voters during GE15. Its Secretary-General, Datuk Sri Hamzah Zainuddin, said the coalition's defence team was ready to prove that the allegations by Terengganu UMNO made through 3 election petitions were untrue.
Bila dia challenge kita buat petition, kita akan pastikan bahawa kita ada bukti-bukti menunjukkan itu semua tak betul lah. The point is, petition ni semata-mata kerana tak puas hati dan sebagainya. Tapi kita juga ada our defence team to make sure that we'll win.
Commenting on the giving of money during the election, Datuk Sri Hamzah said it depends on the situation and the intention that the money was given. The Terengganu UMNO Liaison Committee earlier this month filed a petition to annul the GE15 results for the Kuala Terengganu, Marang and Kemaman parliamentary constituencies, which were all won by PAS, a PN component party. The petition was filed, among others, on allegations that PAS had bribed voters by distributing aid money given by the state government between 15th and 17th November 2022, a few days before GE15 through the iPension, iBelia and iStudent schemes. The Lunar New Year sees us hopping into the Year of the Rabbit, with people across the world ringing in a new year of prosperity, hope and calmness. But what will this mean for Malaysians in facing the year ahead, especially in terms of happiness and wealth? Our reporter Alif Yunus files in this story.
We hope that the pandemic can finish very soon, come to an end, so that everyone can be reunited with their families. And everyone stay in good health. That's the very most important thing.
Wish Malaysia can have a better economic growth, okay, and wish the Malaysia community Happy New Year, Happy Chinese New Year.
Hopefully all Malaysian, all is wealthy, healthy, all is very best in 2023.
Chinese metaphysics consultant Datuk Joey Yap said there are some things that Malaysians can do to make the most out of the year 2023 in terms of health, relationship and financial aspects.
It's a good year for you to focus on a family. If you're looking to get married, start, have kids. A lot of people nowadays all focus on work, right? So that will be a good thing. And second thing we can think about is this. It's a great year to learn something, right? When the world is contracting, find time to actually educate yourself, upskill, so that you can move forward.
He added that the Year of the Rabbit is also an excellent time to make crucial decisions and for the people to carefully think through options to have the best chance of achieving their goals and realizing their plans. Commenting on the economic outlook for the year 2023, economist Professor Geoffrey Williams said the Year of the Rabbit would be a stabilizing period that could see inflation rates could get lower by about 2.5% by the middle of the year. He also believed that this would allow businesses to recover and allow consumers to rebalance their finances to move on to a more stable and prosperous period.
Because of that, we will expect interest rates to be more stable. Bank Negara has already paused interest rate hikes, and that's a very good move by Bank Negara. And we hope that during the course of 2023, unless there are big shocks and big changes in the economic environment here in Malaysia or in the global economic environment, we would expect that interest rates would also be quite stable, probably remain around 2.75%, perhaps a small change to 3%, but no more than that, I think.
He added that 2023 will be a year of transition towards more normalcy after the bust and boom pattern of the last few years, and that there will be positive tailwinds from the reopening in China for emerging markets after the struggles of the last few years. As one of the world's most prominent and celebrated festivals, the Chinese New Year or Lunar New Year marks as the beginning for the people to put the past behind and hopes for better days ahead in the year of the Rabbit 2023. Alif Yunus, TV3.
Meanwhile, people across China were ringing in the Lunar New Year as crowds visited temples after the government lifted its strict zero-COVID policy, marking the biggest festive celebration since the pandemic began. With the easing of most COVID-19 restrictions, many people could finally make their first trip back to their hometowns to reunite with their families. However, in central Beijing, large temple fairs, once the hallmark of the capital's New Year celebrations, remained suspended. Yet crowds still appeared in some tourist areas, including the historic Tianmen tourist site and the iconic Lama Temple. In Taipei, the crowds praying for good fortune at the historic Longshan Temple were smaller than a year ago, even as the pandemic eased. Also noticeably busy was Longshan Temple's shrine to Yu Lao, the god of love, which was buzzing with younger visitors praying with incense or asking questions. A direct flight from China landed in Indonesia's resort island of Bali for the first time in nearly 3 years on Sunday, after the route was suspended due to the pandemic. At least 210 people were on board the chartered plane operated by Indonesia's Lion Air from Shenzhen, in China's southern Guangdong province. The flight followed the Chinese government's decision to lift travel restrictions announced on January 8th, and it coincided with the start of the Lunar New Year, which was being marked Sunday. In London, colourful parades, performances and displays in and around Chinatown kicked off on Saturday to celebrate the Lunar New Year. The performances, which include traditional dragon and flying lion dances, Chinese dance and music shows, and martial arts displays, were held at various tourist attraction sites, including in Chinatown and Trafalgar Square. We're going for a short break. When we return, at least 10 killed in Monterey pop mass shooting. Nightline continues. At least 10 people were killed while 10 others were wounded in a mass shooting in the U.S. city of California late on Saturday. The death toll was expected to rise as some of the wounded were in critical condition. According to authorities, the incident occurred at about 10:20 p.m. local time when the gunman opened fire at a dance venue in Monterey Park, where thousands of people had earlier gathered for the Lunar New Year festival. The Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department said they were seeking a male suspect who fled the scene but did not provide any other details about him. It added there was no clear motive and it was too early to say whether the incident was being treated as a hate crime. New Zealand's ruling Labour Party on Sunday has selected former COVID response minister Chris Hipkins to replace Jacinda Ardern as its new leader and become the next Prime Minister. The 44-year-old was the only nomination for the job, and his confirmation by the 64 lawmakers, known as the Labour Caucus, is largely a formality. Hipkins will be officially sworn into his new role on Wednesday, in which he will have less than 9 months before contesting a tough general election, with opinion polls indicating his party is trailing its Conservative opposition. His appointment to the top job followed the surprise resignation by Ardern on Thursday, who said she had no more in the tank to lead the country. Known as Chippy, Hipkins built a reputation for competence in tackling COVID and was a troubleshooter for Ardern when other cabinet ministers were struggling.
Jacinda provided inspiration.
After this breather, Speedy Tigers' quarter-final hopes dashed. Hockey World Cup. The Malaysian team had their chances for glory but failed to convert in the shootout and let the quarterfinals slip out of their hands at the Kalinga Stadium on Sunday night. The Speedy Tigers scored a marvellous first goal when a pass from the middle of the pitch found Faisal Sari, and he unleashed a reverse stick shot to beat goalkeeper Adrian Rafi in the 35th minute. But too many turnovers saw Spain dominate the second half, and two quick goals in the 41st and 42nd minutes saw Malaysia trailing. The first was a penalty stroke which Mark Morales converted, and even before Malaysia could settle down, Xavier Gispert scored a field goal in the 42nd minute. The Speedy Tigers fought on as Shallow Silverius scored the equaliser in the 49th minute to breathe life into the match. The final score stood at 2-2, forcing the winners to be decided through shootout. Unfortunately, in the sudden death shootout, Spain scored and Firhan Ashari missed the all-important attempt. The defeat saw Malaysia travelling to Rourkela again to play in the lower rung of the tournament. Badminton now, the 2023 Indian Open. National men's doubles pair Aaron Chia, So Woo-yik let slip a golden opportunity to end their World Tour title drought when they went down to China's world number 11 Liang Wei-kang Wang Chang in the final on Sunday. Aaron Woo-yik took the opening set and even led in the deciding game, but were unable to close out the match, eventually succumbing to a 14-21, 21-19, 21-18 defeat in the final. The match, which was played at the KD Jadaf Indoor Hall, lasted 1 hour and 3 minutes. Aaron Woo-yik became the first Malaysians to win the World Championships last year, but have not been able to win any Open titles thus far. Turning to tennis now, the 2023 Australian Open. Jiří Lehečka claimed his first ever Grand Slam quarter-final spot after he came back from a set down to beat sixth-seeded Felix Auger-Aliassime on Sunday. Auger-Aliassime took the first set 6-4, just for Lehečka to level the score with a 6-3 win in the second set. Both players then battled hard in the next two sets, with Lehečka emerging victorious, taking both sets 7-6, 7-6. Also in the last 8 was Karen Khachanov. The 18th-seeded Russian dominated his Japanese opponent to claim a 6-love, 6-love, 7-6 win and set up a meeting with 29th-seeded American Sebastian Korda. The American Sebastian Korda advanced to the quarterfinals after beating 10th-seeded Hubert Hurkacz of Poland 3-6, 6-3, 6-2, 1-6, 7-6. In the women's event, world number 1 Iga Swiatek crashed out of the tournament in the 4th round on Sunday, losing a showdown of current Grand Slam champions to Elena Rybakina in straight sets. Rybakina, the 2022 Wimbledon winner from Kazakhstan, beat Poland's Swiatek, the French and US Open champion, 6-4, 6-4 in 1 hour 29 minutes on Rod Laver Arena to advance to the quarterfinals. Teenager drowns, friend goes missing in tragic outing. This and more after this short break. Welcome back. In Johor, a teenager was found drowned at the Batu Layar beach in Kota Tinggi on Sunday. Kota Tinggi District Police Chief Superintendent Husin Zamora said rescue crews are still searching for the second victim, who was a 16-year-old boy. Husin said the victims were identified as 17-year-old Muhammad Imran Muhammad Nazir, found by members of the public and pronounced dead at the scene, while the missing person is Hani Sufyan Hanizam. However, he added the SAR operation was halted at 7:30 p.m. due to bad weather conditions and strong ocean current and will resume on Monday. In Pahang, the body of a woman who was said to have jumped into Sungai Belat near the Tanjung Punai jetty on Saturday was found early on Sunday. Kuantan District Police Chief ACP Wan Muhammad Zahari Wan Busu said the body of the 42-year-old woman was found at 11:36 a.m., about 50 meters from where she was last seen in her escape to evade police arrest during a narcotics operation. A Rohingya man who witnessed the incident attempted to rescue her but failed to do so due to the swift river current. The body was sent to the Tengku Ampuan Afzan Hospital for post-mortem. As we wrap up Nightline this time around, let's take a look as hundreds of millions of people from around the world celebrate the Lunar New Year to mark the beginning of the Year of the Rabbit. And with that, I'm Lena Hassanel. Thank you for watching and stay safe, Malaysia.